Welcome to another episode of English Speaking Made Easy, your guide to good English. In today's first segment, which is the Grammar Express, we are going to deal with the topic on articles. Now, articles are some things that we use on a daily basis. This is something which we all have learned from school, and so I am just taking you through what possible errors that could be there. Now, articles are words that define a noun as being specific or unspecific. For example, if you consider the following examples, after a long day, the cup of tea tasted particularly good. Look at the sentence, after the long day, the cup of tea tasted particularly good. The article that we've used there, of course it is three articles, the, a and an. So, the article that we use there is the, and the that we used specifies that we are speaking of a particular brand of tea. So, here it shows that what we are speaking is specific, okay, and it's at one specific cup of tea. So, the is a word that tells you that I am speaking of something specific. That is when you add a the. On the other hand, when we use articles a and an, you are not exactly, it's not related to something specific. Instead, it is a very general statement implying that it could be any cup of tea. A cup of tea is wonderful. A cup of tea would taste very good after a long day. I am not specifying on a particular brand or particular kind of tea. I am just telling a cup of tea. It is more general. A and an are general while the is specific. This is the bottom line rule when it comes to articles. Okay. Now, let us go on to explore a little more about articles. So, English has two types of articles like we mentioned before. One is called the definite article and the other is called the indefinite article. Now, let us see how this works out in detail. The definite article is the word the, okay. Definite article is the word the. It limits the meaning of the sentence or narrows it down to a particular thing. Just give you another example. We gave you an example before, but I am giving you another example. Are you going to the party this weekend? Are you going to the party this weekend? So, here the definite article the comes in, which means that the speaker intends one particular party. He is referring to something very, very specific. On the other hand, if it is an indefinite article, we use it with singular or with generally with singular. So, or with uncountable nouns. Now, below are some examples. Please give me the hammer, or please give me the red hammer. The blue one is too small. Please give me the nail. Please give me the large nail. It is the only one strong enough to hold this painting. So, in all these instances, what you are seeing is something specific is being mentioned. On the other hand, the indefinite article, that is a and an, these words cannot be used with plural. Okay, the indefinite articles cannot be used with plural. They are used in two forms. One we say a and the other is an. Now, when do we use a? That is common knowledge. A is used before consonant sounds, an is used before vowel sounds. So, let us just not take it purely as vowel and consonant before a consonant sound before a vowel sound. So, a is used before a consonant sound and an is used before a vowel sound, and both a and an do not refer to anything specific. Okay. So, if someone asks you, should I bring a gift to the party? I mean, she is not specifying on a particular gift. She is telling us any gift, there is no specific thing there. Should I bring a gift to the party? Okay. So, we do not have to be specific. Can I borrow an umbrella? See, that is simple because you are not speaking about any specific colored umbrella that you might have. All that is being said is, can I borrow any umbrella you have? So the only thing you need to remember is one is specific, one is non-specific, titled definite article and indefinite article. Okay, but then there are still certain areas of confusion that can pop up with the use of a and an. This generally comes in when people literally take a specific article or an indefinite article. Like we said, there are two forms, a and an. Some people see a vowel letter, a, e, I, o, u, a letter which denotes a vowel, but they don't look for the sound. Okay, if your pronunciation is not right also, you can have a confusion whether you need to use an a or an an. For example, a common word which most people mispronounce is the word honor or the word honest. These words have a h, but when you speak about it, we don't say honest, we say honest, or we say honor. Okay, and when we say that, we remember that the way when we use a and an also, it differs. My mother is, should it be an honest woman or should it be a honest woman? Now if you look at it, h is the word there and h is a consonant sound. So you would feel that perhaps this is correct, my mother is a honest woman. But no, because h is silent, we take the word o to be the prominent starting word there. A sound is a vowel sound. So you say, my mother is an honest woman. So here the rule is not going by the letter, but by the first sound. Okay. Similarly, when the first letter of the word is a vowel, but it's pronounced with a consonant sound, even then the problem can happen. A similar problem can repeat itself. Look at the sentence below. Okay, she is an United States Senator. Now you see that the word united, you see the u letter coming in there. So you assume that united, u is a vowel. So the article we use should be an an. That's what we've learnt. Vowel letter and then you use an an. But what sound is coming in? Though the word is united, the sound coming in is not a vowel sound, it's a ear sound coming in. Like we have university, all the union, all these have a ear sound coming in. So it is not, so here we can't use a you can't use the vowel an, you can't use the indefinite article an, you should use the article a. So this kind of confusion can always come in the use of a and an, because it differs based on the vowel sound. So we need to pay careful attention to that, or else it's very possible that you could go wrong. Okay. Now in terms of acronyms and all that also, we need to pay attention to whether we should use an a or an. Now this also holds true when we are speaking about acronyms and abbreviations. Acronyms are when we have words where each letter is shortened. Like for example, when you say UNO, United Nations Organization, or UNICEF and all, is an acronym. That is, if you expand it, it has one specific word, but you bring it together and we call it UNICEF. So like an acronym and these kind of words also, we need to be slightly careful. So like you have WHO is another acronym. It means World Health Organization, but we refer to it as WHO. So that's called an acronym. Now we'll just look at a few of these acronyms and initialisms and how a and an can have an impact on them. Okay, you see a word here, LCD display. You can say LCD display. So should you add an a or an an before that? Think about it, it's an acronym. LCD is an acronym. Each letter can be expanded into a word. So if you look at L is actually a consonant sound. No, it's a consonant. L is a consonant, but when you pronounce it, which is the word which comes in first, which is the sound which comes in first? It is L, a vowel sound which comes in. So though the letter is a consonant, the sound L is the first sound is a vowel sound. So we can't use an a LCD display unit, but an LCD display unit. Similarly, Is it a UK based company or an UK based company? U is a vowel, but the sound is of a consonant, like we said with words like university and all that is a y sound. So we have to use a UK based company. An HR department. Now most of us have this thing of pronouncing H. The word is not H, it is H. When you say H, the first sound is A, it's a vowel sound. So you have to use an HR department. Well, of course, if you say an HR department, then of course it's wrong. So then you might have to use, and then when you think A goes in there, but it's not H, it's not her, it's H, and the sound is actually a vowel sound. So we have an HR department. So here this is one big problem of confusion, because this is how, so when you pronounce words differently, when you get these words wrong, the entire thing can go wrong. So this is something that you need to pay attention to when you're speaking about articles. Now let's see how this works, or how articles work with what we call countable and uncountable nouns. Now countable nouns, of course, you know, can be counted. What about uncountable nouns? You know, sugar, salt. So when we have uncountable nouns, how does articles work? It is impossible to kind of use a indefinite article, a or an, with a uncountable noun. You can't say, can you pass me a salt? Can you pass me a milk? You can't use it that way. So you have to modify these words. Can you give me a liter of milk? Can you give me a spoon of salt? So you'll have to use these words to kind of bring it. You can't use a without the modifier. You cannot use a article before uncountable nouns. Okay, so you need to remember that one thing too. So on this note, we wrap up our session on articles, and just do a quick revamp for you. Articles are definite and indefinite. The definite one is the indefinite ones are a and an. A and an are used when we are speaking about general things. The is used to speak about specific things. And we remember that when it comes to indefinite article a and an, the choice of a and an depends upon the vowel or the consonant sound that's of the subject. The first vowel or consonant sound of the subject that we are adding the article to. So if your pronunciation is different, you might go wrong with the kind of article you use. That's what I gave a lot of examples to prove that. So with this, I hope you will be able to use these articles well. It's a very simple area of grammar, and I'm sure it would not have caused so much of confusion for you. Okay. So on this note, we wrap up our segment on grammar, and we go on to our vocabulary section, which is Lexica, your guide to good vocabulary. In the previous episodes, I think in the previous 2 episodes, we were dealing with gestures and expressions people make. I took a break to bring in advertisements last episode, but then I felt there were so many other gestures that we could include. So that's exactly what we're going to do today too. We're going to speak a little bit more of certain gestures, certain expressions that people use. So in today's facial expressions page, we're going to speak about how you use your nose to express certain things. One thing is, it's called wrinkling your nose. Mooka chulikega, wrinkling your nose. Exactly what does it mean? When do we use it? Why do we use it? Okay, when you wrinkle your nose, that is when you feel the food isn't good. My God, that food stinks. And the first expression is you wrinkle your nose. So that's called wrinkling, when you take your nose up. Okay, so that's one word which we use when we express distaste, when we don't like something. We kind of wrinkle our nose, and that's called wrinkling your nose. Okay, it's expressing displeasure. Now we have, that's one thing which we do with our nose. So how you would use it in a sentence is, just imagine you've served food to your son or your daughter, and she looks at the food and she goes, oh, and you say, why are you wrinkling your nose? Just eat it and go. So it's disapproval, disgust. That's when we wrinkle our nose. Okay. Now let's go on to a facial expression which involves your whole face. Just imagine you are sad, upset, there's some problem, you're not happy, then you put in a long face. A long face is when your face droops and you go on, you sit like this and you have a long face. That's what you call, so when someone sees you and say, why do you have such a long face? What's wrong? It's a very unhappy expression that you have on your face. It's the opposite of having a smile. When you have a smile, you're nice, smart and vibrant. When you put on a long face, your face droops because you're unhappy. Okay, when you run into one of your friends and she looks quite unhappy, so then how would you want to ask her why she looks sad? So you can use the expression, hey, why the long face? That means, why the long face? That means, why are you looking so sad? What's wrong? What happened? So that's a nice expression to, you can use it as an alternative to why do you look so sad? You can say, why the long face? That's a nice expression. Okay, so long face. Then let's go on to another word, having a blank expression. Now we know how this works. Some people have, we call it poker face. Some people, you see stand-up comedians and all that, when they say a joke, they won't laugh. The audience would be in splits, but they won't laugh. They'll have a face with a blank expression. You say, oh my God, he says jokes with such a poker face. Poker face is one word. It basically means you have a very blank expression. You have someone who doesn't show any emotion or any expression at all, or you can't read into, say, why he looks so poker faced. He's so poker faced. He has such a blank expression on his face. Okay, now you can't read anything from his face. That's the word, blank expression or having a poker face. Sometimes it works extremely well when you're saying a joke, you know. You don't laugh but everyone else laughs, and you can sit there and have that expression on your face. So now we're coming over to the last facial gesture that we have today. It's people who have a quizzical expression. Now look at what the word means and you will understand it means someone who, you know, if you've noticed some people, if you tell them something, they look very confused, you know, they'll be like this, you can understand that they don't really follow what you're saying. So you say, oh, she's got such a quizzical expression. They're always looking at, what do you call, they look either shocked, or they look confused, or they look puzzled. So you say, you know what, that expression that says that I don't think he actually understands, you know, he looks very shocked, he looks very puzzled. So that's interesting. So you have a sentence like this, you know, that expression which says, but that's interesting, but now I'm slightly confused. I'm interested, but I'm confused. That's the kind of expression people give. When a quizzical expression is when you're telling someone, I'm kind of interested, but unfortunately, I don't really follow what you're saying. I'm slightly confused also. That's called having a quizzical expression on your face. And I think when you go to class, or when a teacher goes to class, what she sees in the eyes of most of the students or on their faces are a very quizzical expression. They can't make head or tail of what's happening, and they sit down there having a very confused look on their face. So we have that expression there. He has such a quizzical expression on her face. Okay, so this was the last expression, the last word we had for you. So just take you through all the new words, I would say rather than words, the new expressions that we learned today. You spoke about how you wrinkle your nose. You spoke about having a quizzical expression. Okay, you also spoke about having a poker face, a blank expression. These are different kind of gestures that people make. So it's nice to know them. It's nice to confront people, ask them, use the right word to tell them how you feel when you see that expression on their face. That will be great. Okay, so with this we're winding up our section on lexica, and we're going on to our third segment for today, which is Say It Right, your guide to good pronunciation. Now here I have just chosen some words, some related to jobs and all that, and I'll just give you those words quickly so you can just see if these are words that you are mispronouncing or are you getting them right. The first word we've discussed before, the word resume. Okay, but because it was related to work, I thought I'll take it in that order. When you're applying for a job, you generally have to give in your resume. So just to reinforce that word, resume. The next one is the word career, C-A-R-E-E-R. Now this word, not only is it pronounced wrongly, it is also spelt wrongly. Most people spell the word as C-A-R-R-I-E-R, and they also say it carrier. It's not carrier. Carrier is a completely different word. Career. Career counseling. No, it's not career counseling. It's career. So it's resume, it is career. The third word is someone who is a businessman, who starts off a small industry. You know, he call that person, and though it's the word is E-N-T-P-R-E-N-E-U-R, you don't say entrepreneur. You say entrepreneur. Entrepreneur. Okay, so it's a very common word you hear, so it's entrepreneur. Okay, it's not entrepreneur, it's entrepreneur. And then the word D-A-T-A. That word is not data, it is data. Data. Okay, then the word P-I-Z-Z-A. We all love this. We love to have this. Let's also get a pronunciation straight. It is pizza. Okay, and then in some similar sounding words which I had given you before, where we have two R's coming in, which I told you one R tends to get dropped. Like if you remember in one of the previous episodes, I talked to you about the word library. Like that, another word which causes a confusion, the word hierarchy. There are two R's there. So don't drop one. It's always hierarchy, not hierarchy, hierarchy. The two R's are there, both words need to be pronounced. And then with that, we have one last word, and that is the mother of all the words we're discussing here now. It's the word pronunciation. It's not pronunciation. It is see, if you look at the word in its verb form, it is pronounce. But when you take it on to a noun form, it's pronunciation. It's not pronunciation. Pronunciation. Even the spelling is different, and you don't say pronunciation, you say pronunciation. Okay, so you saw a lot of words coming in there. We began with resume. Then we went on to a word like pronunciation. We spoke about hierarchy. We spoke about pizza. We spoke about data. We spoke about entrepreneur. We spoke about career. These are all words. Pay attention to the pronunciation of these words, very, very important. Okay, so now we've coming to the last segment, and the segment here which we deal, where we have conversations for you. So we're taking you to the last segment, which is Let's Talk. Let's Talk, your guide to good conversation. So here today we're actually having a telephone conversation between two people, and I think certain telephone phrases you really need to know, because you're calling up some person. You need to know how to make a nice professional call. So soak in all the expressions we have when it comes to having a telephone conversation. Now this is happening between two people, Helen and Susan. So we'll just have a look at the conversation now. So Helen, the phone rings and Helen takes the phone and she picks up the phone and she says, Midtown Computer Solutions, Helen speaking, how can I help you? Okay, how can I help you? And Susan calls up and says, hello, this is Susan Mali. May I speak with Sarah Jones, please? May I speak with Sarah Jones, please? And Helen says, one moment please, I'll put you through. Her expression is, one moment please, I'll put you through. To which Helen responds, Miss Mali, I'm sorry, Sarah's in a meeting at the moment. Would you like to leave a message? Okay, Sarah is in a meeting at the moment. Would you like to leave a message? A very polite way of saying, would you like to leave a message? And Susan says, yes, could you ask her to call me back as soon as possible? It's pretty urgent. Okay, could you ask her to call me back as soon as possible? It's pretty urgent. And Helen responds, of course, does she have your number? And Susan's response to that, she has my office number, but let me also give you my cell. Or my mobile number. And she gives her mobile number, it's 47, and she gives her number there. And Helen says, okay, let me read that back for you. That bit is very important. When someone gives you their number or any mention of a message, numbers, always make sure that you repeat those numbers to make sure that you've got it right. So you see, Helen has used that wonderful practice. She says, after Susan gave her the number, she says, Helen says, let me read that back to you. That means let me repeat that number. And she says 472. She says, and she reads her number and she says, confirming to see if it is right. And Susan says, that's right, Helen. And could you spell your last name, please? And her last name is her last name is Susan Boston. So she says Boston, B as in Boston. So Helen says, so okay Susan, I'll give her the message. And Susan says, thanks a lot, bye. And with that they end the conversation. So you see, some interesting bits of things that have come through is, I'll put you through. May I help you? I'll put you through. And then one very interesting bit is when she gives her phone number, she reconfirms the number, a very good telephone practice. Okay, and then they end up the conversation, and this is how the simple telephone conversation between two people happens. We'll give you different telephone scenarios, how you hold a call, you know, how you get back, but this is one simple conversation between two people. You could use the expressions there. You could use them when you want to make your own conversations, and I'm sure you'll find that it improves the quality of how you speak. Okay, so on this note, I'll come to an end of today's session. So thank you for being with us, and we'll see you again another episode. Thank you.